My name is Rita Davis, the Vice President of Voter Services for the League of Women Voters of Plainfield. On behalf of the League, I'm pleased to welcome you to our 2025 Plainfield Board of Education Candidates Forum. The League of Women Voters is a trusted membership organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. The League never supports or opposes candidates for office or political parties. Any use of the League name or footage from this forum in campaign materials, literature, or advertising of any kind, including internet, cable, or television, has not been authorized by the League of Women Voters and is not permitted. The moderator for the forum is Tony Zimmer. Tony was a candidate for New Jersey State Assembly in 2007. She serves as president of the League of Women Voters of New Jersey. She served from 2011 to 2015 and is a member of the League of Women Voters of Sussex Highlands in northern New Jersey. Tony currently serves on the League of Women Voters United States Nominating Committee, responsible for proposing the slate of officers and directors to serve on the LWV US board. She was an executive committee member of the LWV US Board of Directors and Education Fund Board of Trustees from 2016 to 2022. Tony is a member of the LWV of New Jersey Moderators Group, training members to become certified moderators in New Jersey. She travels throughout the state to support local leagues and other organizations by moderating candidate forums. She resides in Sparta, New Jersey with her husband, Max. Tony, thank you for moderating our forum. Tony? Okay. All right, she was delayed for 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Thank you. I didn't even hear you. It's okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It really is a privilege to be here tonight to introduce you to these candidates and to moderate this Board of Education Candidates Forum. I want to ask all of you to do me a favor before we forget and get into it too much. If you could just turn off your cell phones or other electronic devices. And if you do need to use your phones, you can just go outside and do that. So, I don't know if you notice it, but at the first table, there's a tent card identifying a candidate who isn't here tonight. And that's because she came down with COVID and is not able to join us. So, but I wanted you to understand that she is part of the ballot that you will see when you go in to vote on November 4th. So that's why I left her ID tent card there for you. And before the candidates came out, we had a chance to choose who will open the statements first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and who will close. We did that. And each candidate will have 2 minutes to present their opening statement to you. And the timekeepers, would you please stand? Please. The timekeepers are here to make sure that the candidates know how much time they have remaining for their opening statement, closing statement, and the questions. When there are 15 seconds left, there we go. 15-second sign will be held up, and then when there is no time left, the stop sign will be held up. And if that still doesn't work, you'll hear a lot of noise from me coughing or whatever. But usually that doesn't happen, so we'll see. I think that's really all that you need to know for now. And at the end, we'll talk a little more about the actual voting day and what you might want to do about that. So in that case, I think we can get started with the candidates. And the first candidate will be Janzel.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank, before my remarks, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this amazing forum. To you all that are here tonight, my name is Jancel Fuentes. I'm a proud Plainfield High School graduate in Plainfield Public School. I am a former student commissioner to the Board of Education. And I am running because it is important that we have youth representation on the school board. That includes having a youth in the board that reflects the outcomes that we have on the board. I am also running because our schools are made out of 85% Latino population, and yet there's no representation for us, zero, at the Board of Education. I'm running because we lack community engagement. It is important that we get that straightened up and have more community engagement and more communication disseminated to the public in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Gray?
Hi, good evening. My name is Azim Hassan Gray, and I'm a current Board of Education member. I'm an incumbent. And we began a journey 3 years ago to improve our schools. You selected me a non-conflicted father of 2 girls with autism that attend Plainfield Public Schools. We've done so much in 3 years. We improved our graduation rate. Plainfield set a precedent and sent the most resolutions to the New Jersey school boards. We charted the path to a more inclusive school district as well that prioritizes special education students. But there's so much more we can do. The job is far from done. The mission has not been complete. So I'm asking for another 3 years in order to continue the journey and focus on eliminating the doctrine of necessity so we have no conflicted board members serving on the board, because that is directly increasing our property taxes.
Thank you. Hembry?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pat Hembry. I'm running for re-election for the board. I am a retired social studies teacher from Plainfield High School. I had an amazing journey as a teacher, and I want to continue the amazing journey with students, parents, and my colleagues. The reason I'm running for board is because, number one, the graduation rate. We're at 70%. CUSAC said we have to be at 90% in order to come out of status. We are comprehensive. We have 4 comprehensive schools. Plainfield High School is one of them. That is one of the reasons I'm running. Also, the second reason, vocational education, to bring it back. 38% of the population have some type of college degree, have some type of college education, whether first year, second, third, have completed college. What happened to the other 62%? Students need alternatives. Vocational education is an alternative. It is an alternative. And to infuse it with technology, it is totally amazing and will take our students quite a distance in today's world with everything so expensive. Also, as a retired teacher, I understand the challenges that we're confronted with. And I want to continue on the board to do everything I can to help students and their parents to receive academic success. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamara?
Good evening. My name is Tamara Douglas, and I'm a proud product of the Plainfield Public School and a lifelong resident and a dedicated early childhood education with over 20 years of classroom experience. I'm running for the Board of Education because I believe every child in Plainfield deserves access to a high-quality education that meets them where they are and empowers them to reach their full potential. My mission is simple: to close the achievement gap, support our teachers, and to strengthen the bridge between schools, families, and the community. As someone who has worked in the classroom and partnered with families daily, I understand that our district's success depends on collaboration, transparency, and consistent communication. And together we can make Plainfield a model for excellence and community-based education.
Thank you. Ravi?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robbie Campbell Assad, and thank you, League of Women Voters, for hosting this very important event. I'm running for the Board of Ed under the One Board, One Future. I'm running for the Board of Ed because I believe the board needs candidates that are diverse, not conflicted, have financial acumen experience, and policy oversight experience. I operate under the 4 C's. The first C is commitment. I'm committed to supporting the whole child, and that includes making sure they are ready for college, ready for trade or armed services, but it also includes wraparound services like soft skills, executive functioning skills. I'm committed to collaborating with the other members of the board, the teachers, parents, and the superintendent to ensure that we create whole children. Communication, I apologize. Communication. The board lacks communication with the public. I've gone to the board members' meetings and I've sat at the podium and I've spoken, and there's been no dialogue back and forth, at least not publicly. We need to change that. And also climate. I'm committed to psychological improvement for all of our students. I thank you.
Thank you. Could we ask what that noise is that we hear, the banging during?
That's why I was nervous. I kept hearing banging.
Okay,
I'm like, okay.
Now we know. That's okay. All right, so now we'll start with the questions. And the first question is going to go to Jenzel.
Yes.
What is the first policy you would review or revise or rescind upon joining the board?
Yes. The first policy will be the doctrine of necessity that I will be, can you repeat the question again?
Mm-hmm. What is the first policy you would review, revise, or rescind upon joining the board?
Revising the doctrine of necessity. I think the doctrine of necessity has pushed back a little bit on our district, and that's what I would do.
Okay. All right, Tamara?
So I can't answer that question at the moment, but I'm willing to learn about the policies. And when I hear about something and I feel like it's not a right fit, then I will definitely fight for it to be revised.
Thank you. Gray?
So one of the first policies that I would initiate as a member that would be reelected on the board as an incumbent is that we need to focus on participatory budgeting. When we look at other school districts like Freehold, we look at school districts, or rather municipalities like Maplewood, they have earmarked discretionary spending for specific purposes for students. So students can vote on matters pertaining to the budget and redirect budgetary resources to things that students are interested in. I just completed the participatory budgeting project, and as a member of that cohort, I was responsible for getting the education around participatory budgeting, and I would like to see that come into Plainfield Public School District.
Thank you. Embry?
I would rescind the policy that states if you want information from the board that has information that happened at a public meeting, you can't get it. That makes no sense. It's public information. Everyone who wants information of a public meeting, any business that took place, should be able to get it.
Okay. Robbie?
I don't know if it's a policy, but I would say that I would definitely change how we promote the budget. At this last budget hearing, it was very conflicted and complicated. So I would definitely change that to have the public more involved in our budget processes. This is too far. And I would definitely work with the public. I would definitely work with the budget to make sure that the public is more engaged in the budget process. Certainly have the budget meetings ahead of time so that the public can see the budget ahead of time and make comments so that they can be incorporated in the budget process and make the budget a little bit more transparent.
Thank you. Okay, the next question will go to Tamara. And am I pronouncing your name correctly?
It's Tamara.
Tamara. Okay.
Tamara.
Tamara, how would you advocate for increased outdoor learning and increased recess time in Plainfield schools? And what mechanisms would you support to ensure it's implemented equitably across all schools?
So I feel like outdoor play is important. Children learn by playing outside. So I feel like children from preschool to 6th grade should have ample amount of time outside, and it should be a part of the schedule, and that children who are from 8th grade to high school should be able to pick and choose if they want to go outside, or even have access to activities to move, like open gym, if they decide not to go outside. So I think that a policy should be put in place by the board or the superintendent to make sure that all students are able to go outside and play, and that teachers are putting things into their putting things into their lesson plans to take learning outside. So those are different ways that learning and play can go hand in hand.
Thank you. Gray.
So I think as schools move away from ABA-based models, which is behavioral-based understandings, which is reinforcing certain behaviors that you want to see through incentivizing students and actually meeting a student where they're at and focusing on the relationship with them, what we see is that you can get better outcomes. So in terms of more movement breaks, I would be interested in seeing more movement breaks for elementary students. I think that pre-K kindergarten right now, and it's 20 minutes of recess time. I think that should change. We need more movement breaks for younger students. In addition to that, when you look at some of the current Board of Education, for example, does outdoor equity initiatives because it's based off of research that says that, hey, mood alertness increase, you can have better mood awareness, better engagement with students if you allow them 15 minutes outside. So I would seek to have a policy where we expand more movement breaks for students, but then also for students who are in high school, for example, start focusing on their IEP as well, just to see if there is opportunities for more creative solutions to provide them better supports.
Embry.
Dr. Cox has an initiative already for outside, for recess, field trips, what have you, because learning is not only in the classroom, it is outside the classroom. So one of the things that he has many outside activities. The middle school and the high school students are participating in outside activities like horseback riding, going fishing. Experiences they have not had before, and that is what outside is, whether it's a recess for elementary children, organized activities. The higher you go, middle and high school, you have to be more sophisticated to keep young people interested. And that is the reason Dr. Cox has already addressed this initiative.
Okay. Robbie.
I believe outside activities are necessary for healthy minds. I certainly would like to see that more in the neurodivergent community. It is a great space for them to collaborate with typical children as well. I would also look to see if we can get a grant to help build more community engagement outside with the students when they're outside. So it's not just they have structural play, not just outside play, but structural play. So for me, having a grant to support speech as well when they're outside, building the communication skills are very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Jensel.
Yes. As a history student, this is dear to my heart because the way that I find to learn history is by going to sites and learning history where it took place. I will definitely be advocating for a policy to increment the field trips in terms of outdoor teaching here in Plainfield Public Schools, and advocate for now I believe the current, it's 20-minute recess time. I would like to see it and advocate for it to increase to 40 minutes, like the high school we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next question, we'll start with Gray. If you had to reduce one line item from the budget in order to balance the budget, what line item would it be?
That's for you.
Oh, that's me, absolutely.
I said Gray.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear Gray.
You want me to
So-
repeat it, or?
So as I understand the question is that if I had an opportunity to reduce one line item on the budget, what would it be? So that line item on the budget would be discretionary spending. There's way too much discretionary spending in the district. I feel as though we should earmark discretionary funding to allow young people, particularly young people who are going to be responsible now to bear the consequences of the budget, but they don't have the opportunities to vote on the budget, right? Newark has 16 or 17-year-olds being able to vote in school board elections. Unfortunately, we haven't got there yet as Plainfield, but I think we should get to a point of having 16 or 17-year-olds vote in school board elections. But first, that process starts out with the budget, engaging them in the budget. So I would limit discretionary spending in order to ensure that it's earmarked for students to make sure they're able to vote on matters that directly impact their learning.
Hembry?
Could you repeat the statement?
Sure. If you had to reduce one line item from the budget in order to balance the budget, what line item would it be?
If I had to reduce one item, I would reduce the excess waste we have. One, for example, we have personnel working in the rubber room. And we replace those people, those administrators or teachers, whoever they are, with other people. That's waste. That's money that could go toward hiring other personnel, and that's something we have to stop. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have someone who is supposed to be doing the job, but you take them out and you replace that person with someone else. That's wasted money. I would eliminate that totally.
Robbie?
Well, I have to say, it's very hard to tell what I would get rid of because I couldn't understand the budget when it was presented last year. But if I was looking at a typical budget, I would certainly look at redundancies where there's similar services delivered. Certainly look at the salaries to make sure that we're incorporating people in positions that promote student success. Look at what I could see was a little top-heavy, but I really, again, couldn't dissect the budget because it wasn't clear when it was presented to the public. So if I had to be honest, I can't answer that question unless I'm able to see a budget where it's clearly aligned and transparent, and I could not see that in the budget process. So, but looking at a typical budget, I would definitely look at discretionary spend and look at the salaries to make sure they align with student success spending.
Thank you. Genzel?
Yes. Well, it's very hard to see what line items, as my colleague said, my running mate said, for the budget. But I will say, reducing administrative costs. The board, well, the school district is top heavy. We all know it. We have to make sure that we are putting more money into the classroom because that is why our students do not perform to the standards. And increase, again, money that goes to the classrooms in terms of resources for our teachers. Our teachers definitely deserve the resources. I saw teachers put their own money into my classroom. And we as Plainfield Public Schools, we have to make sure, and as a board, that we are increasing the amount of money that is going into our classroom because that is how we can get our scores up. Thank you.
Tamara?
So I heard a few things. I heard discretionary funding, I heard excess waste, and I heard administration. So if all of these things are line items that people who sit on the board and they see, I feel like if we see where the money is actually going in the school system, that's what we need to be able to see. So whatever line item that we can reduce and we can see it back into the classrooms where we have aids and resources for the teachers, that's what we need to do to move forward.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is for Hembry. We'll start with you. What do you believe are the top 2 critical issues facing the school district, and what solutions do you recommend?
Okay, so everyone knows there's a shortage of teachers that is very critical in this district throughout, not just this district, the state, throughout the nation. How do we get qualified teachers? What do? We give them competitive salaries. We give them great benefits. We have a positive school climate and culture, because if not, it's going to be difficult to bring teachers into that atmosphere. And you must also, to bring teachers in, qualified teachers, students need to be respected, teachers need to be respected, the entire staff. No micromanaging. Respect everyone. Value them. Culturally relevant pedagogy. Use that, which means that you respect everyone's background. You respect them totally. Gloria Ladson-Billen coined that phrase, which has helped tremendously in this nation now, in schools, everywhere, multiculturalism. The second thing I would do, the achievement gap, closing it. There was a time, 1st grade to 3rd grade, that was the critical time to learn to read. Researchers have added 4th grade, 1 to 4 now, where you must learn to read.
Thank you, Hembry. Thank you.
That's it? Time up? Okay, sorry.
Okay. You can continue next time.
Okay, no problem.
Robbie.
Okay, great. Can you repeat that question?
Sure. What do you believe are the top 2 critical issues facing the school district, and what solutions do you recommend?
Budget transparency and student achievement. We presented a budget last year was $300 million, yet we cannot see achievements with the budget. So how can this be? How can our test scores still be below average, and how can our graduation rates be low? The budget doesn't align with the resources. We must put the resources into the classroom. So for me, it would be clearly budget transparency, creating a budget that the public believes in, creating a budget that promotes student success and classroom achievement. That's not being done now. Having a budget that measures classroom achievement, looking at our rates year over year, our graduation rates, our test scores, and putting resources towards activities that promote these changes, increases in these rates. So I would definitely look to increase budget transparency and student achievement. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Genzel?
Yes. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What do you believe are the top 2 critical issues facing the school district, and what solutions do you recommend?
Well, certainly. The 2 issues that we're facing, that the school district is facing, is classroom size. There's too many students in a classroom, and I experienced that last year. Overcrowding of classroom, especially. There's more than 20 students in a classroom. My teacher had to pull chairs from another room in order for me to sit in the classroom and participate. And I will make sure that we are using 100% of our facilities, our instructional facilities, instruction environment. A lot of rooms are filled with storage units or storage rooms. Listen, it's not benefiting us, the students. Well, as a former student, did not benefit us. And as offices as well, there's too many offices at Plainfield High School that are serving the district. Another second one will be board communication. It is a thing that there has to be more communication to our community. I would like to see that you all that are here go to a Board of Education meeting that is increasing, disseminating information to the public so that everybody is aware of when the board meetings are planned, where they are, and disseminating more information. Thank you.
Tamara?
So my two top critical issues with the school district, right, that I feel like the school district is having right now is a shortage of teachers, resources, and aides. I feel like the classrooms are, like he said, large and overpopulated, and we also have dual language learners who's not able to communicate with their teachers, so we need aides in place to help them be able to communicate and bridge that gap so that they get the same education as every other learner in a classroom. We also need aides to help in special education so that everybody has a one-on-one. And I feel like the other thing is vocational choices for students who decided they don't want to go to college after graduating, so that if we put those things back into the school, we'll see more children picking trades instead of feeling like they have to go to college or they don't have any other choice outside of that. So if we bring those things back into the school system, we'll have more children being successful in the areas where they want to learn and grow.
Thank you. Gray?
So this has weighed on my mind heavily as a working class kid from urban housing. It's very important for me to close the achievement gap. I was born and raised in an area that was very difficult, hard scramble, and what made a difference for me in my life was the public education system. Having gone through the public education system, I know there are challenges, and a lot of times those challenges are reflected in the budget, right? Show me your budget, I will show you your priorities, right? So budget transparency and accountability and closing the achievement gap through academic equity is absolutely very important for me. And now in terms of budget transparency, the tax increase that was presented never came to our committee. We never had a full discussion on it. We didn't debate it. So for me, transparency begins with doing the work in the committees. That's where all the work for the board gets done, in the committees, and making sure those are chaired with folks who understand what the budget means. We should be bonding out for our capital improvement projects. They shouldn't come from the budget, right? I think that when you are building your house, right, or you want to make improvements to your house, you're going to go to the bank to get a loan. You're not going to take that out of your checking account. So I think that in terms of the budget, we have to focus on student achievement, and we need to see the line items that directly relate to student achievement.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Robbie?
Yes.
Okay. Many students receiving special education services don't have access to inclusive classroom models in their neighborhood schools. What should the district do to make inclusive education available in all Plainfield schools?
This is a question that is dear to my heart. I have two sons that have special needs, and my oldest son recently graduated from the Plainfield public school systems. And I will tell you that inclusion to me means belonging. And as a parent with a special needs child, that's all you ever want them to do is belong. And having a classroom where it's inclusive is very important. Modeling is so important for kids like my son. So that this model should be in every classroom, in every school in Plainfield. And the fact that it isn't is a problem, which is why I said the budget isn't clearly transparent, because resources from that budget should go into classrooms that are inclusive. This is building students for the future. And kids learn, how do kids learn? Usually by modeling. How do they learn how to say hi? Their parents taught them how to say hi. How would a special needs child learn? Usually through peer modeling. So the fact that there's not an inclusive classroom in every school in Plainfield is disturbing to me as a parent of a special needs child. What I would do for that is certainly look at resources within the budget where there's waste so that we can promote inclusion in all of our schools. Certainly provide training to teachers to ensure that they have the adequate resources to provide these resources, because we don't want to bring inclusion if it's not successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Janzel?
Yes. Can you repeat the question?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Many students receiving special education services don't have access to inclusive classroom models in their neighborhood schools. What should the district do to make inclusive education available in all Plainfield schools?
Oh, yes. So as a former student of Plainfield High School, I am a special education student with an IEP. Inclusion in all schools, we most have to have inclusion in all schools. I would like to bring in more collaboration between the student services at Plainfield Public Schools and the Board of Education so that we can better align in terms of special education, what are the benefits that we have when inclusion, but most importantly, expanding inclusion in all classrooms. But that comes with teacher development. We have to make sure that our teachers are well-rounded and know, because not every teacher is certified as a special education teacher, so we have to make sure that enough more teacher development gets to our classrooms and teachers. Thank you.
Tamara.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Many students receiving special education services don't have access to inclusive classroom models in their neighborhood schools. What should the district do to make inclusive education available in all Plainfield schools?
So I feel like there's a few things that can be done. If a child is being bused out of the district to go to another school district to receive that type of education, I feel like that money that's being used to transport those children should be put back into our school system to open more classrooms. I also feel like general education teachers should have background knowledge on some type of special education, and they should also get with the child study team and collaborate with them on what they can do to make their classroom inclusive for all of the children in that classroom. So if we implement those type of things into the classrooms with the teachers and the child study team working together, we can make that classroom inclusive for all children.
Thank you. Gray.
Absolutely. So this, again, hits near and dear to me because I have a child who needs special supports and can only attend this district school for those special supports. So having an inclusive classroom model is very important to me. First, we have to come to a definition of what inclusivity means, right? Because the state defines it through the Inclusive 2025 project as children in the least restrictive environment. I think the least restrictive environment kind of gets to identifying maybe what a shared language on inclusivity is, but I think we need to talk about having conversations with the union because I think it's important to make sure they have the staffing associated to be able to deliver an inclusive environment. So when we talk about the staffing, we need to hire more bilingual teachers, we need to hire more special education teachers, and that's where it becomes an issue of the budget, right? Show me your budget, I'll show you your priorities. Well, what are we spending money on? Are we spending on recruiting teachers? Are we spending to recruit maybe more teachers who have these certifications, making sure they have these certifications? I know I was instrumental in being part of a process that went from caseload to workload so that, allows more direct focus on children and the special supports that they need. But then also, we had an audit on the IEPs in order to make sure children are getting the services that they need. So that all directly contributes to an inclusive classroom environment, but I think we could do more in terms of collaboration. And as a person who graduated from Rutgers Escalade School, I think we could do that.
Thank you. Henry.
Yes, Michael Apple stated that inclusive education is when all students, special needs, general ed, multilingual, will receive a thorough and efficient education no matter what. They will be valued, respected, their culture will be respected. Now when we go to special needs kids, we also have to understand that IEP is the mandate for all teachers to follow. You must follow, all teachers must follow the IEP. Also, we must have professionals who are invested in special needs children. The child study team consists of the psychologists, the sociologists, and the other caseworker. And also, teachers also show up to help out. So all the personnel must be hired, and we must look for quality people in these positions to continue. But the most important thing with concerning special needs kids, if they are in inclusion classes, they are treated equally, the same assignments, and if they need help, differentiated education is needed. You have to help them. You have to meet kids where they are. My time is up.
Thank you. Okay. Genzel, this one is for you. The school district received community backlash about the proposed tax levy increase for the 2025-2026 school year. What specific steps would you take to increase transparency and public trust in the budget process while ensuring the district has resources needed to meet its strategic goals?
Yes. So we all know our budgetary process, that it was not transparent. I will make sure that and collaborate with colleagues on the Board of Education to make sure that everybody is aware of what is our budget. That includes holding town halls on our budget, disseminating more information, providing more information to the public about the budget. And what was the other part of the question?
What specific steps would you take to increase transparency and public trust in the budget process while ensuring the district has resources needed to meet its strategic goals?
Certainly. Increasing communication, increasing more explanation in terms of the budget, what line items, and what most importantly is we need a budget that clearly is equal to our strategic plan. The hand-in-hand work together with our strategic plan. So we have to make sure that our community knows that, and to get a better and transparent budget that the public can trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamara.
So with the budget, I feel like it needs to be transparent. The public needs to know where the money is going, and they also need to know where they can find out how the budget is being spent. So it should be put in a place where people can access it, and it should also be like a budget committee that could explain in terms where everyone understands it. So it should be put in Spanish or in English. It should be put out on social media. Someone should be there to explain these things to them so that they know where the money is being allocated, and what it's going to look like in the school system. So transparency is the top thing that they need to do with the budget.
Thank you. Gray.
So, I mean, can you explain, reiterate the question again? I'm sorry.
All right, so the school district received community backlash about the proposed tax levy increase for the 2025-2026 school year. What specific steps would you take to increase transparency and public trust in the budget process while ensuring the district has resources needed to meet its strategic goals?
So the first step I took as a commissioner is I voted no. And I was the only commissioner that voted no. And it felt very interesting because there was no public debate on it at all. And I voted no on it, and I asked very deliberate questions. I was asking questions pertaining to what goals are we achieving here? Do they match the strategic plan? I think that if I could dial it back a little bit and how I would do things differently, is that I would first make sure that there is a transparent process. The budgetary process begins in November. So the public should be involved in the budgetary process in November, especially at a time in which there's so much budget cuts that are coming from the federal level. And then we have the elimination of basically S2 funding, which on a state level, that means that we're not going to get the same generous aid that we got in previous years. So I think in terms of making the public more involved in the process is something we need to do. We need to limit discretionary spending, of course. and making sure we are prioritizing student achievement, which is directly aligned to our strategic plan.
Thank you. Hembry?
Everyone knows that this budget was probably the worst process ever. We didn't have an advisory committee. We didn't have public meetings about it. We just showed up, and it was presented to us to vote on, which was a really terrible process. So we need public meetings. We need the public, parents, the stakeholders, input on the budget. They need to understand the budget. We all need to understand the budget before a final budget is presented. Another thing that happened with this budget, taxes were increased. Only 2 people voted against the final budget. Commissioner Wyatt and I voted against it. I can't afford to raise for taxes to be raised. I can't afford that. Cost of living, everything's going up. Going up is up. Inflation. What we need to do for the future, we need a referendum, which will, if we have a referendum, then the state will pay 40% of the cost of whatever we're going to do for the referendum. Edison just had a referendum for $150 million, and the state is going to take over 40% or more. So no, we need transparency. We need input from the public. And hopefully, the business managers in the process of devising some type of plan for the next budget, so we all can be happy.
Robbie?
Can you repeat that
Would you like
question?
me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much.
The school district received community backlash about the proposed tax levy increase for the 2025-2026 school year. What specific steps would you take to increase transparency and public trust in the budget process while ensuring the district has resources needed to meet its strategic goals?
Thank you for the question. So as a finance director at Rutgers University, we hold budget hearings several times before we present a budget to our key stakeholders. You are all key stakeholders, so am I. I went to those meetings, and I have to tell you, as a budget professional, 25 years of experience, I'm still confused about what they were increasing and why it was increasing. It eroded the trust of the public to the board, and that we need to take that disconnect and that gap and close it. And to close it, they need to start having budget 101 meetings. And that includes telling folks, this is what this line means, this is where the money is going, and show key metrics of performance so people understand what they are paying for. When you go to the grocery store, you touch a fruit, you know what you're paying for. When you're paying millions of dollars to educate students and you see test scores are still low, graduation rates are still low, what are we paying for? I don't think people would have had a problem with an increase if they would have told us what we were paying for. That was never done. And so in order to build that gap or bridge the gap that has already been created, and it's going to be hard to build that trust back up, they have to have budget meetings, one-on-one meetings with the public, allow the public to speak to and ask questions and answer the questions right there. Be honest and transparent. I always say that. Honest and transparency will take you a long way. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this next question we're going to start with Tamara.
Okay.
How would you improve parent engagement and the role of parents to the success of the students?
How to improve? So, from what I'm hearing from a lot of parents as I've been knocking on doors, a lot of stuff that goes on with the school district or in the community, they're not aware of it. So in order for us to improve parent engagement, they first have to know what's happening. So we have to make it so that they're more engaged by seeing these things and being involved with them by making sure that they have access to the information. And once they have access to the information, we have to make sure that they come with their children. I see that a lot of the parents are engaged in sports, and we need to get them as engaged as they are in sports with the academics. So if we can create groups like chess or robotics or something like that to bring academics back like we did sports and try to get the parents more involved in their parents' education. I feel like you will have more engagement.
Thank you. Gray?
So I can speak candidly as to what I've done. And what I've done is that I show me your budget, show me your priorities, right? So I collaborated with the superintendent in order to redirect funding to the Special Education Parent Advisory Group. And by making sure we allocated the budget to these Special Education Parent Advisory Group, we were able to hire speakers that directly train parents on things like signing up for Perform Care. We were able to work directly with parents in order for them to understand what DIR is outside of ABA related psychology, right? And have them understand that there's other ways that you could go about in parenting and working with the Family Success Center in order to do that as well. So, and then also creating chats, and we have a robust CPAC chat, and we have CPAC leaders that are directly involved and take leadership in the school district. Because how we solve this problem of funding, public funding, is directly engaging in democratic discussion and democratic involvement of everybody who is close to the action. So parents are the closest to the action, and they play an instrumental role in making sure that our school district becomes better, performs better. And I'm happy to be a parent as well as a board member who sends their children to Plainfield Public Schools for that to happen.
Thank you. Hembry?
Every time you have an event, whether you want to have training for parents, you want parents to come out to give information about their students, about the achievement gap, about concerning test scores, what we can do, have food. Have food. So the parents can come out, bring their children, listen to whatever we have to say, and it's accomplished. We're educating the parents. We have a great parents involvement. We used to do that. We don't do it anymore. And we need to go back to some of the old things we used to do. We used to have game day every Friday where parents could come, teachers would come, the students. We used to have a great time. Get more parents involved by being active, doing things that attract parents. And food will attract everybody. You cook dinner and the parents come out and bring their children. They don't have to worry about dinner that day. And you can accomplish whatever. Training, the information you want to get out to parents, it's great. We have a different group involvement of parents, if we do that, but you got to feed them.
Thank you, Hembry. Robbie?
The parent and teacher and school combination is critical to the whole child's success. And I do believe we should have more parent trainings, perhaps monthly. I agree that we need to have more. The district would benefit from having more academic success achievement stories, and so instead of focusing on sports only, but I do believe that parent engagement meetings would strengthen the parent-teacher collaboration and support the whole child success. So I would increase parent trainings. I would increase parent meetings. I would do something very similar to what the district has done with the CPAG, and create a budget line for resources so that we can have parent engagement and trainings. We have trainings on the CPAG monthly, and they are imperative to helping us navigate processes that we might not otherwise know. Not only are these parent engagement meetings important for the school and teacher engagement, but parents will meet each other, and they will learn from each other. They can talk about issues and concerns, because when there's numbers, when you come in numbers and you come with these issues to the district, then people hear you. So certainly with parent training, parent engagements, and they should be monthly. Thank you.
Thank you. Genzel?
Yes. So working closely with our community, that includes building community partnership with our community, hosting open houses more frequently, community tabling. Those are just to name a few, to increase parent engagement and community engagement. Through the years here in Plainfield, I have noticed that people often do not know what's going on in our school district, what is going on, what activities, even parents, they don't know, what programs we have in place in our schools, and it's important to showcase those during open houses and community tabling. It is very important. I see many organizations, many other schools doing it across the state. I think we should do it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and now we've come to the final question. And we're going to, it's about experience, just letting you know. And we're going to start with Gray. What is the current school administration lacking? And what experience do you bring that can help improve future administrations?
Repeat your question.
What is the current school administration lacking? And what experience do you bring that can help improve future administrations?
Great.
So I've always had a systems approach to thinking. It would have been impossible for me to survive the various calamities that I experienced growing up in urban area without first understanding how systems work and how systems of oppression work. So I had to develop a deep understanding of what continuous improvement looked like. If I wanted to make sure my neighborhood got a supermarket, I had to work with people in order to have them understand what nutrition looked like, what it looked like in order for their child to be attentive in school. So it's like, I had to really focus on how systems work and strive towards continuous improvement. And what that looks like in the school district is just making sure everybody's accountable to student achievement. Whoever it is, the custodian is dedicated to student achievement. The security guard is dedicated to student achievement. So focus on key metrics that deliver the outcomes that we need in terms of student achievement is something that I think is really missing. I don't think everybody's aligned on that. You have people that are focused on maybe getting a job for their family members, or you have people that are focused on, particularly conflicted board members, focused only on just themselves and their small group of people. We need to be focused on delivering outcomes around student achievement because everybody benefits when the public school does well. Even if you send your kids to a private option, just having the best public option, right? We know that for those who are on Medicaid, Medicare, if you have the good public option in the school district, it benefits everybody.
Thank you. Embry.
So the thing I would do, what I believe, not that they are lacking, but they need more support in closing the achievement gap, looking at the test scores. So, before I said from grades 1 to 4, children learn to read. After 4th grade, they read to learn. So what do we need to do? Why are the scores the way they are? We need to bring back reading specialists and math specialists to 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and if you need it beyond, because our children, when it comes to language arts and when it comes to math, we need improvement. We are improving, but we need to improve at a faster rate than we are. And let me tell you, I taught in Plainfield for over 30 years. We didn't have what we have now. We always had reading specialists. What reading specialists do? They are trained. They are trained to teach children how to read. Math specialists, trained. That's what we had, and our scores from the lower grades were always high. We need that support again. We need to bring that back. Children need to learn to read, 1 to 4th, need help. Reading specialists, math, arithmetic facts, math specialist.
Thank you.
Could I extend my time?
Rob, excuse me?
Is it possible to extend time to her?
No.
No? Okay. All right.
Robbie?
I'm like, what? What's going on? Can you repeat the question?
Sure. It's about experience.
Yes.
What is current school administration lacking? What experience do you bring that can help improve future administrations?
Okay. So I believe there's opportunity everywhere. I think that, like Mrs. Hembry, I do believe we need to close the achievement gap. When I look at the graduation rates and the test scores, I'm alarmed. And so I don't see where our resources are allocated to support closing that gap. So my experience is my budget experience. I have over 25 years of budget experience. I oversee a number of schools and cost centers in my current employee with a $500 million budget. So the $300 million budget, looking at it, I would try to see where we can allocate resources in this budget to ensure that we can close the achievement gap. It's not easily seen. So I would take the experience I have as a budget professional to dissect the budget, to see where resources are being spent, see where there's waste, and where we have opportunity to improve where resources are allocated to ensure that we have equitable student outcomes. So I would leverage my experience, work with other board members and individuals in our community to make sure that we have a budget that's transparent and that's accurate and that is promoting student success on all levels. And that's what I would do.
Thank you. Jenzel?
Yes. So my experience, my best experience is that I am a recent graduate of Plainfield Public Schools just last year. So I have walked I have sat in the classroom, I have walked the hallways, and I understand what each and every children and students specifically are feeling in our school district. The current administration is doing a good job, I will say, but we have to make sure that we are doing more in college and career readiness. That includes even CTE, which is career technical education. But in college and career readiness, half of the graduating class that I graduated in 2024, half of them could not understand what is a FAFSA, what it is the process to going to college, but they wanted to go to college. So I took the initiative to help them, and successfully I helped 5 students who right now are enrolled in college. And I will say we have to do more in college and career readiness, but most importantly, invest in early literacy. We need our students to know how to read, how to write a paper when we get out there to college or post-secondary educational outcomes. That's what we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamara?
So I feel like the administration is lacking the focus of student achievement, the passing of test scores, and closing the achievement gap. I'm saying that because I had the opportunity to go to a meeting and I heard the test scores and where the schools were and how they were not passing. It was only 2 schools in the district that had passing scores. And I feel like if we focus on those areas and put the students back in front of us, then we'll be able to close some of those achievement gaps and get to where we need to go and not be a failing school system. So the experience that I bring to the table is that I'm a teacher and I see these things every day. I talk to the parents and I work with the children and I see how we need to put things in place so that they're learning how to read and learning how to write. Because if our children are able to read by the 3rd grade, then more than likely they're not going to be able to graduate. So we need to have these things in place so that we can have successful students that graduate out of Plainfield.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're at this point now where we're going to begin the closing statements, and excuse me, we've already chosen the order, and so we're going to begin, and I'm going to ask you to please refrain from applause until after everyone has had a chance, okay? I hope. All right, Robbie?
Okay. So thank you so much, League of Women Voters, for having this forum. I think it's very important that the public get to know the candidates that are running for the board position. I'm running for this board position because I'm fighting for all of the students. Similar to how I fought for my son, and I'm still fighting for my other son, to get a free and appropriate education so when they do get out of school, they're able to go to college or trade or in armed services or wherever they choose. But also I'm fighting so that they can have a whole child approach where they have critical thinking skills and executive functioning skills so they can support themselves as well. I'm running for this position because I really truly believe that the board lacks someone on the board with financial acumen, and I can bring that to the board. I can help navigate difficult conversations surrounding the budget and help narrow it down so that everyone understands the process and the budget. Not only that, I'm not conflicted. I can make decisions for the superintendent, for teachers, or for anything pertaining to the board business without conflict, and I think that's important. We're a diverse group. I'm diverse as well. We have a diverse group, and so I think bringing that to the board is also important. I truly believe that it is time for the board to have a change, and that change is right now. I've sat in some of the board meetings. I've seen some of the things that are going on, and I feel like there's a distrust with the public in the board, and we see it not only with the distrust with the public in the board, but we see it in the scores. We see it in the scores, like I said, the scores and the graduation rates. And it's time that we bring individuals on the board that mean business and stand on business, and that means voting for someone without conflict, with financial experience. And I see the stop sign, and I thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenzo.
Well, thank you everyone for attending this forum. To the people of Plainfield, I humbly ask to go out and vote, because this is about our future. This is about the future of our students. It's about the future of our kids. And if you want to continue to have a board that lacks a lot of things, well, you know where to go. But I will say that I am running because it is important to have representation. The youth needs representation. I know many people talk about the youth, but the youth is here. We are here. We are here because the board is in charge of our future. We need to make sure that our future is the best. And I will say, in closing as well, we need to make sure that we're doing the job, that board members are asking questions on the Board of Education, that the community deserves their questions to be answered right on the spot, not in an email 2 days later, 3 days later. That's what we have, that's what we need, and that's what I will be fighting for, and I will be advancing for, and I will be amplifying the voices of everybody here, because everybody, we need to bring the board closer to the people, where it belongs. It did not belong with political agendas. It does not belong somewhere else. It belongs to the people of Plainfield. The gavel is the people's gavel, and it's the board gavel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tamara?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm running to help close the achievement gap and ensure every student in Plainfield, regardless of their zip code and background, has access to high-quality learning experiences. I want to contribute to creating an environment where teachers feel supported, families feel heard, and students feel inspired to achieve. In closing, I'm running because I love the city and believe in its children. I've walked the same hallways our students do today, and I spent my career preparing young minds for the future. As a board member, I will bring the heart of an educator, the voice of a parent, and the dedication of a community leader. My focus is clear: to close the achievement gap, strengthen collaboration, and make Plainfield a district we can all be proud of. So on Election Day, I ask for your support, not just for me, but for the future of our children in our city. Together, we can build the legacy our students deserve.
Thank you. Gray?
Education is our passport to the future. Tomorrow belongs to those who plan today. That was something that was written by Malcolm X, and that was on the walls of the schools that I attended. And that saying, that expression, has always stuck with me. So my goal has always been as a board member to close the achievement gap. I am obsessed with closing the achievement gap for every single Plainfield public school student. because that was done for me. And it has led me to a lot of different places, but it starts with first being a board member and realizing that you have an instrumental role in closing the achievement gap for every Plainfield public school student in the 6 square miles. So I wanted to thank the League of Women Voters for allowing me to present a platform, the One Board, One Future platform. We're column 2, and I ask that, yeah, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to say column 2, but what I will say is that hopefully we can have your support in the future, because what's important for me is important for you all, which is student success. So I look forward to seeing you in the polls on Election Day.
Thank you. Embry?
For several decades, I dedicated my life to education, teaching, mentoring, and advocating for students. Our students don't need worn-out promises. They need opportunities to prepare for college, for trades, and services that keep our communities running. We spoke about the achievement gap, graduation, shortage of teachers, get more qualified teachers. We need people invested in our community. We don't need candidates who sue the district, receive a hefty settlement, and want to be on the board. That is an ethics violation according to this New Jersey School Board election bylaws and policies. So, I don't know, also, Ms. Campbell Lasade sued the district, receive a hefty settlement. Also, the board is nonpartisan. The board was founded in 1914. It was based on being nonpartisan. You cannot advertise as a Democrat. You cannot be sponsored as a Democrat, Republican, and not any party. The opposing slate was endorsed by the Plainfield Democratic Committee. That is an ethics violation. You have to be nonpartisan. You can't do that. They have 2 ethics violations already. Running for the board, want to be on the board, sued the board, received a settlement. And now we are working, we are knocking on doors. They don't have to knock on doors because the Democratic Committee in Plainfield would do it for them.
Thank you. Okay, I want to just say, it takes a lot for people to get up here, excuse me, my throat is just, the way you have tonight, and express yourself and what you want to do for your community. And I think everyone should give them a nice round of applause. And I would like to say one thing. You notice the person who can't be here today. That person would have been sitting on the end. But you know what? You can vote for anybody you want to who's sitting up here, okay? You can pick number 2, number 1, number 2, whatever. So just keep that in mind, all right? Thank you.
Candidates, thank you. Conducting forums like this is one of the ways we encourage informed and active participation in government. Your participation tonight helps us carry out our mission. For those that were unable to attend our forum in person tonight, encourage your Plainfield friends and family to watch a recording of this forum on the Plainfield League of Women Voters YouTube channel and on our Facebook page, League of Women Voters of Plainfield. The League of Women Voters welcomes men and women. If you are interested in this local organization, comment on our Facebook page or send an email to lwvnjplainfield@gmail.com. Regarding voting for this general election, registered voters can apply for vote by mail ballot by following instructions found on vote.nj.gov or unioncountyvotes.com. Additional voting information can also be found on vote411.org. In-person early voting is an option that enables all registered voters to cast their ballots in person using a voting machine from October 25th to November 2nd. In-person early voting hours are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and Saturdays, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays at several locations in Union County. You can also vote at your polling place on Election Day, November 4th, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. There are plenty of options available to ensure your vote is counted. It is critical that you exercise your right to vote. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
Thank you.